I look completely unshaven, and my legs are killing me.
Okay, everyone, well, welcome to Kitchen Table TCG. That's definitely staying in the podcast.
Yes!
We're going. Welcome back. We made the Zoo be with you, our Flesh and Blood podcast. I'm Louis from Kitchen Table TCG. I'm George by Mitch from Midtown Merchant and George from Compete Sport. What's going on, fellas?
I'm in agony. I've been doing labor all week. This is not... Don't get old and fat. You got to pick one.
You're supposed to have other people that do your work for you, George.
I have a staff. I had like 8 people doing it, but like I feel bad just like being the overlord.
So Louis has a team, but how does that? I mean,
George
Louis just has a team and then does all the fun work. Because I remember like he had a team and then he just opened all the packs, right? Now that was agony watching him open packs, but we don't have to get into that.
Yes, that's true. I imagine Louis seems like me. Their backs constantly hurt because they have to carry Louis everywhere. That's just kind of how I envision it.
Okay, welcome to the beginning of the podcast, everyone. Let's talk. What are we talking about today, George?
So there's a couple things. The first is I think we had some announcements about new printers coming online.
Yes.
And somebody already did a video on it despite us talking about it during the podcast. So
I needed content, man. What can I say? I needed content.
Yes, yeah, we need content. Second thing is they released that Kingdoms is not Kingdoms. It's called Tales of Arabian Nights. I'm very
This is not excited. Magic. Not magic.
Wait, I thought it was Tales of, I thought Rudy told me it was Arabian Nights getting re-released.
He might have told you that. So that might have been a spoiler alert, though. Sorry, Magic the Gathering people.
Alert. I don't remember the cards from Arabian Night. What's the Library of Alexandria? I got it. Nailed it.
There we go.
That's like the Great Library, right?
It's going to be the library. That's what it's going to be.
The fable it was a spoiler. We just didn't pick up on it.
Monarch wasn't an actual set. It was just a spoiler for Tales of Rat.
Isn't Monarch also a token
card? It was the library.
It is a token in MTG. All right. So new printers. We're gonna discuss that. So
and we also have the MetaZoo minute, Louis. Thanks for cutting me off. We also have the MetaZoo minute at the end. Thank you, Louis.
Louis and I are doing MetaZoo minute on the side.
There's
right now.
Currently an auction going on. I'm not going to actually be doing it, but Mitch will probably. I've been out.
Hey, that guy just got an obnoxious 9. He got a full hollow growth. That's a great card.
So the printers, we have 3 new printers, right? Sorry, 2 new printers, and one more. And kind of the general feel right now in the community, let me just paint the picture for where I think the community is at, is some question on what the quality is going to be for the US cards based on the quality on other card games. But then the other side of the coin right now is it means that maybe a higher print run, a more easily accessible product for LSS to get into the hands of stores. So there's like these 2 sides of the story, and George has been shaking his head.
I have such strong emotions about this. I got into virtual fist fights on every platform I could find about this week. I think
you went in my comment section,
huh? Yeah, including your Discord, only available to patrons at louis.com. So I got your back.
Wrong website.
It's going to be something really raunchy. I apologize to all the grandmas listening to this podcast. I have I'll be honest, I have irrationally strong emotions about this to the point I was like, why am I so passionate about this? And here's my argument. First, I enjoy defending LSS. The last month I've been pretty harsh on them, I think. I've been fair, but critical. I much prefer when I can be like, they're doing a good job. When you are doing a card game, you get to pick your poison, right? You can either have nothing but great quality. Listen, that's usually Japan, sometimes Belgium, but they can only print so many cards. If you want to have all these printers, yes, there's going to be some minor changes in card quality, but the trade-off is you get a ton of cards. You get more boxes. You don't have this nonsense of I paid $700 a box at release. I would rather have a bunch of boxes in people's hands than not. And I also think this idea of the American cards being worse is so, I almost said a bad word on your podcast. You almost had to go PG-13 on me, is so freaking hilarious. I have never in my life opened up an American Pokemon pack or had one opened up at my store and go, geez, I wish that Monarch Unlimited looked this bad or Monarch First was this bad. It's always better than the flesh and blood printing. Always. The Monarch printing was unbelievably terrible.
And it was
this
printed
is
in
how
Belgium.
they're remedying this. They're saying, I understand we have a problem with print quality and print quantity. And in order to help this, we're bringing more printers online to help the quantity, and we're diversifying our printers to help the quality.
Yeah.
The idea of American cards being worse has been so overblown, in my opinion. It's crazy.
And in addition to that, I think it provides some competition, right? And whether it's the same company or not, and I know somebody commented in my comment section that it's probably the Cardamundi US and I don't know. I don't know that world. Maybe
that
George,
would surprise me, to be honest, but maybe it wouldn't shock me, but it would surprise me.
Hopefully it provides even competition within the company itself for LSS to say, okay, we have 3 options here. We want to use option X for the best quality. And so like, I think competition at the printer space is probably good. Like, I think that's a win. Because I think even maybe this next set isn't perfect quality, but that gives them an option to see the best quality printer and then choose the best quality printer and who can actually fulfill.
So go ahead, Louis. Sorry.
No, go.
You'll know my background. I have a design background. I got a degree in graphic design, like been to print presses, done that whole shebang. It's a fascinating process. Do we know if it's like a third party hired by Cardamundi? Do we know if it's like the same organization?
Do we know, to your point, me like LSS had hired them?
Hired directly. So they hired 2 separate companies, one in Japan, one in the United States, and then they have Cardamundi in Belgium, and they're contracting these out these different organizations.
Right.
And they're trying to keep them within some realm. Usually there's like a space or like a plus or minus X amount of color.
Right.
You know, there's a range of acceptance. And this is in any printing press because it's hard to get it dialed in perfectly with all the different inks, etc. I'll be curious to see how they like the thing I'm most interested in is yes, quality, but like consistency and then cold foiling. Like I actually never seen that printing press or that methodology used on a grain scale. And typically, like that would be an expensive thing in my understanding of printing presses.
This
to have that implementation. So I'm curious to see how that comes into play. Maybe it's just unlimited.
All the thing says, all the announcement says is that first edition is going to be printed in US printers. That'll be the first set that's the US printers. I'm very curious it didn't specify if it's going to be printed anywhere else. It'll be very interesting to see, is it only printed in the US printers? Again, George is shaking his head.
No chance. It's printed in all 3. George went guarantee.
Okay, so you think you're gonna
guarantee it?
You're gonna.
I'm not gonna personally guarantee it. George's dog will guarantee it, I guess. I mean, like
you think you're gonna have 3 different print runs of first edition from 3 different companies?
If you don't have 3 printers printing it, then I don't understand the point of this.
What's the point?
And like,
right.
Then I'm really disappointed in this announcement. I'm gonna give LSS credit that like they're not gonna just for some absolutely ridiculous reason actually cut down the number of first edition boxes as they bring on more printers.
Yeah.
But then the idea is that you print in each region. So you have So in the US, we would just get the US printed cards in the US because it saves on logistics. That's part of the
I think that's a lot of it. Is like they had to air freight those Monarch boxes over here to Fortune, and like they're trying to listen. Like it never makes my understanding from the LSS logistics freight train is that it went from Belgium to New Zealand to the US, and this is a nightmare. Like, this is insane. Like, listen, that makes no sense. Like, why wouldn't Japan print for New Zealand, Belgium print for Europe, and the Americans print for the U.S. market? Like,
and Canada. We're not counting Canada, but there's Canadian market as well.
The Canucks, they can go eat their fake bacon and like eat their poutine, and like they have enough. All right, they have poutine. I love me some poutine. They have enough. All right, they can give us some flesh and blood cards.
Someone's gonna quote that in the comments section.
On fries with gravy and cheese on top. Are you kidding? Like that is a.
When are you guys coming to Tulsa?
South.
Because there's an Oki poutine just down the street from me. We can walk to it. It's at a really nice bar. I'm just saying.
Probably no time soon.
I mean, y'all need to come to Tulsa. We need to do like a Collecticon here or something.
There we go. We can do a Midtown Merchant-a-thon.
Oh, I like it.
The name is.
I mean, Team Covenant's down the street, but they're not physically open.
No.
So okay. So I want to play devil's advocate because I've talked to George and I tend to lean somewhat on George's side on this. I know that's a rare occurrence. But on the devil's advocate side, on the flip side, I think a lot of people are saying right now, and don't interrupt yet, George, but a lot of people are saying right now, didn't we have enough Monarch first edition? Boxes are cratering, and do we really need more print run of Tales of, or is it Aria or Aria? Somebody tell me.
What?
I don't know. Can we get James White in on this?
We need DMR.
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's true. I'm gonna say Aria.
So
we need Aria.
So why do we need
until James White fires me?
So why do we need more Tales of Aria? And so, like, my argument to that is that we had on release the $500 boxes, and that was an artificial increase in an artificial market. And I think by adding more boxes, we will see a nice gradual increase. I mean, a $200 box right now, $220 box, you guys are screwed, by the way, on our bet. You guys are so screwed. But a $250 box right now, 2 months after release, it would be great if people had bought boxes at 100, right? Like at 200 or 150.
Oh, sure.
And
if
so
they bought a retail.
I think that I don't love that argument from people of like, we don't need more boxes. I think Monarch was an inadequate supply of boxes. The problem is that stores held some back, and now we're seeing stores fire selling at $200 a box,
which is great, actually. Now, if they just so this is actually a great thing. We actually might see boxes at like MSRP to 150 for first edition.
Yeah.
Why don't you like that? Why don't you like that?
Well, like, wait, for Aria or for Monarch?
Aria.
No, for Aria.
Oh, Aria. I wanted to be $80 a box.
Yeah.
For first edition.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah.
I mean, would you do that though for like collector boxes for MH2 and other things?
I keep hearing that I'm like, so it's funny. Like when I called my one distributor about this already, because I wanted to see how many I have to put in the expensive distributor. So I called the cheap distributor to figure out how much they can hook me up. They were basically like, George, like if you put in for like 5,000,
you're going to get 5,000.
You're not going to get 5,000, but you're going to make my month. And I'm like, now you're cooking with gas. Like this is great. This is fantastic. Are you kidding? Like I have not had boxes for sale on my website for 5 months. I have not been able to.
What's your website, George?
What?
What's your website?
Fleshandblood.com.
Oh, okay. So fleshandblood.com hasn't been selling any boxes. Interesting.
I have not gotten enough boxes to satisfy my locals and my online customers. So
do you need some boxes?
You don't have any Monarch Unlimited?
I can probably sell the Monarch Unlimited. I can join the fray and be like, buy one, get 30 cases for free. It still counts as map because I'm charging you for one box and just giving you a gift.
Right.
It's like, let me talk about what Louis said. I think there's two things. First is I do think Monarch has a couple of issues that the other sets have not had. I don't think the chase card of Monarch seems not existent, frankly. Like you can argue it's the husk, you can argue it's exude confidence, but that is not, there's not a chase card in this set. Compare that to Tunic, compare that to Cap. Yeah, and like congratulations, if you open a case, you're gonna get 85 of those. Next year, should exude confidence for all those who are listening to our podcast.
$30 it was an unlimited one too.
Yeah, well, toilet paper. So like it, there's not a chase card like there was in Wraith.
There's not a Tunic or Skull Cap, right? Or Art of War
or an Aetherite.
CNC
in the legendary slot. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's really the Majestic slot that struggles. I think there's that L slot. Like the husk is great, but it's best in Blitz, so it's limited in the format.
And it's also only used by a certain class.
Well, sure. It's only
compare that to Tunic compared to Cap.
Well, sure.
No, that's
there's no generics that are being used openly across all of them. Now, it could be a foundational thing, though. I think this is the thing on the long term. Let's say we're a year from now.
Yep.
We've come full circle. Monarch's been out. Tails has been out. I don't know what I'm going to call it.
Monarch
Aria.
2000.
Well, I like calling it Tails.
I like calling it Tails. I don't know why. Yeah. The kingdom thing just feels weird to me because we're talking about one part of the kingdom instead of the whole thing, but we don't have to get into the name yet. But don't give me that look.
Where were you going with your statement before we both interrupted you? You got interrupted.
You guys know I'm horrible with tangents, and it's even worse whenever George interrupts me. God, I don't even know anymore. I'm going to give up.
So no. I think here's the thing. I think that a lot of first edition is great, and I'm all for. I'm team George on this. Like, I want boxes to be $80 to $100. Yeah. I want stores to be able to sell 1,000 boxes if they have the people to buy them, make the same money that they made on Monarch by selling boxes at $300. The profit for the stores is the same. For consumers, you get $100, $100 first edition boxes. That's great. That's awesome. But where I think it breaks down is unlimited. That's where I think this breaks down. If they're going to do unlimited 2-3 weeks after the release of first edition
at release, if they do it simultaneously, then what's the point?
Then I don't think we want that many boxes because nobody wants Monarch Unlimited right now. Who's gonna want Tails Unlimited if there is you can't use the argument that Unlimited is for the players if the players are all buying first edition for the same price that they could buy Unlimited.
Okay.
I think that's my point, is why you can't have them at the same price point. And they have to be a limited number of boxes for first edition if you're going to do them so close to release.
Go ahead. I'll tell you why you're wrong in a minute.
You can't have them at the same price point and the same time. You can have them at the same price point. You can have them at the same price point at different times if you have that 6-month window. I mean, I thought that the whole 6-month window for Unlimited worked perfectly for Flesh and Blood, but
it was almost too long. But yeah, I hear you.
Let me first state that, like, if they do print first edition into the ground, and I think they will, I think we're gonna have a metric ton. I'll call it Tails so people, our listeners, don't get confused. But just know in my head, I'm saying Kingdoms. We will have a metric ton of Tails, but I don't have any problem with them also putting Unlimited out very soon after. I don't think it's LSS's responsibility to make sure that I order responsibly. It's their job to produce boxes. If I don't think I can sell Unlimited, I shouldn't be taking Unlimited.
Okay.
It's my store. Now, like, I'm going to take a bunch of Unlimited. I can sell Unlimited. I have players. Mm-hmm. I have a player base.
Yeah.
But I think the reason I like, I'm gonna really make a lot of other stores cranky. Just know I love, like, some of you, mainly just Don, and I guess Herbie and a couple other people as well. I love a lot of you.
Most.
I'll probably love most of you. But, like,
I'm sure they don't care.
I don't think they care.
The dude abides.
Yeah. What I think. It is not LSS's job to make my job easier. Sure. They have done enough to make my job easy. They give me armory kits. They give me competitions. They give me all these. They give me all promos. They give me buy a box promos. They give me all these tools and say, all you have to do is move our boxes. And my argument to them is always the same. Then give me boxes.
Yeah.
And now there's like, George, here's all your boxes. I don't think it's then turn around to say like, oh, wait a minute, this is Unlimited.
Right.
Give me boxes. Let me worry about it. Let Papa sit on Papa George's lap and let him tell you about how he's going to sell his boxes for you.
I got to stop this. Okay. So, but again, so you're saying
this is the issue with having it on Louis' channel. He moderates this stuff. Go ahead.
Then you're saying that fleshandblood.com, Compete Sports website, will not have unlimited boxes.
What?
No, he's saying the inverse.
Because you're not going to be able to sell them. If first edition comes out. Wait, hold on. All
right. I'm putting some Monarch Unlimited on my website tonight. Buy it to prove Louis wrong.
So So
the issue is you're going to sell it at $80 a box. Go ahead.
Let's play a game. You're not going to sell it at $80 a box, George. You will put it up there and you will lie to me and tell me that it's sold.
I'll send you the thing. I don't care.
So
I have access to it. I can tell you.
Yeah, Mick made the website.
My point is, if you put boxes, if you have unlimited boxes that come out at the same time or 2-3 weeks, whatever, after first edition,
you're going to have buy a box promos. Beautiful.
Nobody cares, George. I'm telling you right now, nobody cares about buy a box promos.
That's not true.
Everyone has them.
Let me start off with a threshold statement. If Tails sucks, none of this matters, right?
Well,
we can all agree on that, right? Like Tails has to be good. Is that fair?
Right. Yeah.
Well, we need to talk. We're going to talk about the set after printing, right? Because we're talking about the printing and all that right now. But we'll talk about the set after.
What do we want? Do we want boxes to be put out first edition, unlimited, and safe? It doesn't matter what we want because they're going to do it anyway. I'm just trying to paint a picture. This is the picture I see. The picture I see is first edition comes out, and then personally, I won't order any unlimited because I know it's not going to move because I'm going to be competing with Channel Fireball, who gives away a $70 playmat with a $76 box. Hold on, don't interrupt.
For my
awesome.
bundle.
I bought one. Like I think it's great, but I'm not going to, as a store, I'm not going to buy it because I can't compete online. I'll just buy for local people. Okay, and then on the other side of it, you've got other stores who we'll see. I guess Monarch will always be on MSRP. But if we have not MSRP, map pricing, but if we have they'll be bundling it with like what we're seeing right now for $100 for 2 booster boxes. Like I might as well just buy that rather than buying it from where I get my boxes from. Like it's like I might as well. Like
Mick, no, turn around, Mick. I can see you saying you almost went too far already.
Like, what are you talking about? Where does he buy boxes from?
Yeah, it's fine. I might as well buy them. I might as well buy them there. That's might as well be what I do.
You were so close. I could see it. I could see you getting ready.
The point being, that's my point.
Time. Go ahead, though.
That's my point. And I'm not complaining. I'm saying like I just won't carry unlimited. My patrons have access to unlimited for whatever it is, $79 with the buy a box promo. And I've sold 4 boxes. So like
it's because you're selling at them at 79.
Exactly. That I can't compete with the pricing.
You can't sell at 76.
So here's what I will say. I don't care about that nonsense.
I know that's a tangent.
Hundreds of boxes of Monarch unlimited, Louis, in my store. Do you know how I did this? I had events, I had gatherings, right. I have play, 100%. I have built a flesh and blood community.
Yep.
If stores aren't doing that, screw them.
Right. No,
if stores aren't building a community around the game that they want to carry, then let LSS say, bring the hammer. Bring the hammer. You're going to take unlimited. And if you can't sell it, you suck as a store. I think that's fine.
Right.
I got no beef with that. I mean, like, I think like this is LSS drawing a line in the sand and saying we expect stores to help you grow a player base. And I think
so then online is not part of that business model.
Well, we all can't be fat cats like you. Some of us have to.
I'm just saying that's my point being is that you as a store, because right now on Facebook, everyone's arguing as stores. All you see on Facebook posts of these stores that are doing the $50 boxes is how are we supposed to compete with that? The point I'm trying to make is now stores, we shouldn't be thinking about online sales. That's the argument.
Let me put on my Professor George hat here. All right. So whenever I go into a consulting job, I assign one article. Okay. And I tell them, if you don't read the article, I'm going to ask you a couple questions about the article. If you don't answer the questions right, I'm walking out the door. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste your time. And the article is called Marketing Myopia. It's done by a guy named Mr. Levitt. He taught at HBS. He created the term globalization is what he's most known for. And marketing myopia,
globalization.
I'm sorry.
He created the term globalization.
Yes,
that's impressive.
He's an impressive guy. There's a reason that this article was written in the 60s and is still I think the most highly assigned reading at HBS. I'm sure neither of you have read it. Don't worry. So It basically says
HBS is Harvard Business School for all those who do not know.
Jesus, I hope you know that, kids. Come on now. So
no, a lot of people don't know that, but it's fine.
Go Crimson. So the article basically says by the way, Louis is obviously bidding on whatnot right now.
No, George or Mitch just won one on WhatsApp. It popped up on my phone. Continue. It just popped up on my phone. This
is a perfect example of how not to run something. Thank you guys for the beautiful example.
I'm listening to globalization.
Basically,
you're saying globalization. Go ahead.
This is going to be like our viewers are tuned out. This is good. The article basically states, if you can't figure out how to sell your product, look in the mirror because it's your fault.
Sure.
Selling, hold on, beautiful mind. Selling is me selling you a product. Saying, I have a box of MetaZoo. Do you want the box of MetaZoo? This is what we as stores have gotten away with. Right? You want a box of Flesh and Blood? They're all going for above MSRP, and I have it, so you can have it. Marketing is something very different. It is about you creating and expanding demand. Stores, in my opinion, have an obligation to create and expand demand. You do that by doing events. You do that by promoting the game. You do that by who you are. If a store is looking at a store and going, oh, geez, they're priced $10 lower than me, I'm out, then you have failed as a store. They should take your retail license. It is your job as a store to figure out, how do I get my players involved in a game that I want them to care about?
Sure.
And I think this whining of stores saying, oh my God, they're $10 less than me in store. How will I ever survive? Stop it. Just stop it. Compete. They gave you armory kits. LSS gives you hundreds of dollars of promos a month, and you can't figure out how to grow your player base?
And instead they sell them on eBay.
Yeah, then they go, no, don't get George ranting on that. That gets George hot.
So I agree 100% with what you're saying, George. I agree 100% with what you're saying. I think it makes sense, and I think I agree. And I would hope that any viewer that's listening, if you play at a local game store and your local game store sells Flesh and Blood and you play there, that it doesn't matter what the guy online is selling for, that you are supporting your local game store. I don't think anybody in this conversation would ever argue against any of that. And I totally agree that stores that are not investing in the community, and they're both local community and, stores who aren't investing in an online community or whatever, that they shouldn't be, that I agree with what you're saying. My argument is that means that we need to stop thinking online and start focusing locally.
Playing the game in Flesh and Blood.
I totally agree.
Right.
But
great
totally
name.
agree. But what that looks like then, unfortunately, is that you as a store are only ordering product for your local customer base. For me in West Virginia, my local customer base, the biggest Magic the Gathering tournament in our 5 mile, 10, 15 mile radius is about 10 people. So that means that a store, like a small store in United States, that means that don't expect that store to offer you first edition boxes that you're going to be able to buy, because they're not going to be able to get boxes because they aren't able to sell their boxes online to get the product. And that's the point. What do you mean? What?
That makes no sense.
If a small store, I'm using me as an example.
I figured it was very well hidden. I figured. Continue.
Yeah, I'm just using me. If a small store isn't able to compete with online prices, then they aren't going to order for their online communities or their online places. They're just going to order for their small amount of local scene.
Here's the trick: is I don't think that's true either, Louis. Like, you have a player base that plays in your Discord. You have a YouTube channel. I think you talk about something every right.
3 hours. My point is I've done everything that you're saying to do online, but at the end of the day, for an online consumer, what wins, and I am an online consumer, I 100% agree with this, is price. That's what wins.
I don't make them all the time, Louis. I don't think that's true all the time.
Okay. Well,
we can't just say, but I think Louis is saying in most use cases, this is the outcome. And the outcome is more people are going to buy something that is less expensive. George, why do you like to go to Walmart?
Hawaiian shirts.
Because they're great priced Hawaiian shirts, right?
Yeah, $7.90. This shirt, I think, was $7.97. Do you know
that's my point?
10 years ago.
That's my point.
Why?
Do you have nice Hawaiian shirts?
In Florida, and I lived there 9 years ago.
Do you have nice Hawaiian shirts though?
No.
Okay.
They're all from Walmart.
So that's okay. So I think kind of what I'm saying though is we're consumers. We also live in a capitalist society, and we are always looking for what is the best price or what is the thing that can help me the most. But now, there's also the other side. I just didn't buy a $300 pack of MetaZoo so that way I could have MetaZoo cards. It was for fundraising, right? There was a bigger cause there. There was a bigger picture that I was trying to contribute to. I think kind of what you're saying, George, is I am a store. People respect me. People enjoy my store. They want to support and continue to see my store grow. So they might buy a box from me at 80. Whereas I'm going to go buy an entire case, 4 boxes from, Channel Fireball, because I can save over 4 boxes. I might be able to save $20, $15 maybe.
And get a free play mat. And
exactly.
Get the pro. And so this is the point, George, like, I'm not complaining. Like I'm not complaining. I'm simply making a statement that if I were a patron of me, I wouldn't buy a $79 box when I can buy a box for $77 and get a play mat. But as a store, if I sell a box for $79 after fees and after shipping and after all the stuff, it's simply not worth it.
That's a different topic. I think I will simply
let me finish. I will simply wait till boxes are $100 and I'll be the guy selling them at $80 at $79. And I'm okay with that. But I'm speaking for like the other small stores. Like, I think the play there for a small store is you have to lower your expectations on what you're going to get on Tales First Edition, or what you're going to be able to afford for Tales First Edition. Because if you are going to then be taking unlimited, or if you're going to be focusing on the unlimited side of things, you're just not going to be able to compete at the price point, which is fine. Like, again, like that's fine. It just changes the attitude of the last 2 years, which has been people begging online for $80 boxes. That's no longer going to be the case. That's people great. Aren't. Yeah, it is great. I agree.
It's great for the player. It's a little bit of a challenge for us to figure out what to do as a store owner or somebody who is selling stuff at scale.
You just have to invest in your community, which is what George is saying, and what we're all 3 of us do. But also, I think what we've seen a lot of other stores do, who invest in their local scene. But those stores also, I think, have to change their attitude online. Is what I'm trying to say.
Go ahead, George.
No, go ahead.
I think the other thing I'm seeing now too, selling a box at 80 is great. If you have the labor and the time to spend on it, opening a box of ARC or WTR actually can yield a higher ROI, depending on how much time it takes you to open a case. So I just happened to open a case, had 2 tunics in it. That's a win. I would have made way more money selling those 2 tunics than I would have selling 2 cases.
That happens all the time, right? 2 tunics in every case.
It's never happened to me, actually.
George wants it.
I know George is
tonight. Sorry, all sales are
canceled.
All
your alpha boxes.
I understand what you're saying, George. I hope everybody understands what I'm trying to say. Is the idea that we have to change our attitude because the last year has been online focused.
This is a different market. They're printing enough boxes. I'm sorry, everybody. You actually have to do your job now. I'm really, really sorry. LSS is going to make you do your job as an LGS now. And also, it's a down market, so you can't just live off free tendies of Pokemon either. You actually have to actually run a store now. I'm really, really sorry to my fellow store owners who weren't doing this. I cannot tell you the number. You guys got me. I am in a bad mood today, apparently. I cannot tell.
Terrible mood today.
You're working through some stuff though. You got some life stuff going on.
Like,
let's not.
I cannot tell you the number of idiotic people who called me in the last 12 months and were like, I want to open an LGS. And I said, great. I'm actually a proponent of it. I think people way overstate how bad of a business it is. I said, send me your business model. And all of these doofuses had, I'm going to get 1,000 boxes of Pokemon. I'm going to pay X number of dollars from distribution, and I'm going to sell it at $200 online. And I'm like,
let's talk about this, George, because I came to you with this, right?
Right.
Because I was actually legitimate, like, hey, can I sustain this as a business? And you're like, no, this is a horrible business idea.
No. This is
now my idea was a lot different than yours, Louis. So let's just put it there.
Yeah, I'm not worried about my business ideas.
I told everybody.
Yeah, you got plenty of them.
Like, you can't base your numbers off of $200 Pokemon boxes and $500 Flesh and Blood boxes.
Correct.
You can't base your numbers off of product in general. You have to base your product off of repeat customers who appreciate your business and that you add value to.
Correct. Loyalty.
That's the game. All these little all these morons who didn't listen, opened their store anyway. Now they're stuck, right? Chilling Reigns. They're like, that box will be $150 all day long. Now it's
no, it's 120.
It's normal price. It's 110, $120 a box.
Right.
Wow. Who could have ever thought that Pokemon prices could return to Earth? I mean,
so are you telling me that
bad stores are going to go out of business?
You're telling me though that Flesh and Blood now is a TCG. It is a valid TCG. It is following market trends. It is selling at MAP pricing, unless you're WTR or ARC. ARC I think will sell above MAP, but based on demand. But this is actually a great sign, I think, for Flesh and Blood. Yes. We are seeing it behave like a TCG. It is not constantly moving up, doesn't follow market trends, is not influenced by outside sources. I mean, it's moving in a traditional way in which a TCG would. And I think with Tails, we're going to see a similar thing. It'll open up at MSRP, maybe slightly higher, and maybe dip a little bit and then slowly trend upward. What is the average return on MTG boxes over a 5-year period? It's like 10%, 15%?
More now. Over 5 years?
So 20?
No, but in 5 years, you'd be at least probably
50 to 75% easy.
Yeah. Okay. But I guess what I'm saying is it's not going 50 to 75% in a month.
Nope.
Or, or 5% overnight. It's a reasonable, And I think we're seeing just a reset. We have boxes finally in the market, and now the market's fully resetting going into this next set.
And I think there's still so much question marks about Monarch. I think Monarch, I know there's different attitudes about Monarch in this conversation, but I think Monarch came out at a really poor time. I think if Monarch came out 2 months earlier, if Monarch came out 2 months earlier before this kind of collectible,
it'd be $1,000 a box.
We could be having a completely different conversation, and I could owe you guys both a box of Monarch. But the way that
it would have dipped by now, but yeah.
But the way that Monarch came out, I think is bringing a lot more negativity to the set.
Correct.
And one of the biggest frustrations I think the three of us talked about in private conversations is people's attitude, people taking their attitude on the market and painting what they think of Monarch and what's going on in Monarch and saying that's happening on the whole market. And there's not that many singles from the other markets in the world right now. You go find me a legendary from WTR, you can't find it, but because there's so many stuff happening from Monarch, people think that everyone's just fire selling.
So it's really funny. Somebody who is in Discord all the time who's super always negative, they were like, I've been trying to buy the dip, but I can't find any WTR legendaries. It's people who have those aren't they're not desperate for cash.
Those are not part of the dip. Those are not.
I'm not desperate to sell my WTR legendary. It's you're gonna find one or two every week, or gonna get desperate and scared and dip and flee, and that's fine. But most
the raw number of cards on the market.
Say it again.
The raw number of cards on the market is minimal.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and also listen, the raw number of Welcome to Wraith legendaries, I bet you at this point is very small. All mine are graded. Everybody I know has them graded at this point.
Yeah.
Not me.
Oh, don't let Louis leave it. So it's I guess
Louis getting so tired of that joke.
I'm never tired of that joke.
I legitimately,
I just saw like his eye, like
I'm legitimately going to stop doing box breaks. I'm just going to not do that anymore because no one's going to want them because George keeps fudding me. He keeps fudding the name.
It's just like nobody wants your collection tracker, right?
He's fear mongering everything and getting people. He's trying to add to my demise. All because he's bitter that he's going to have to give me a crew box.
That's all it's about.
I want Louis to fail as a business, so that way when I give him a box, it's out of pity. It's not out of me losing.
Let's move on to the next topic. I feel like we've talked a lot about what our thoughts are. Before we do so, are we doing a stream for charity for the next set for Tails?
Yeah. And I think I'm opening boxes. If they're $100 boxes, I'll open some with you clowns. You all got to go slow with me though. I'm slow in many ways.
Mitch and I talked, and I think Don's going to take your place, George.
Yeah. I have a guy named Hamal Patel.
Sorry, Don.
What if just live we just fired you from the show? Just live
in the middle of a competing network.
Oh, that he actually would, right? He would totally. He would put out all the stops. He'd fly everybody in. He's like, let's get all the best stuff in here.
My Patreon's gonna be full of the steals. It's gonna be a penny a month, but you can't be subscribed to both Louis and me.
I would pay so much.
You have to show that
for you to have a YouTube channel. For you to have a YouTube channel, I would pay a lot of money.
Half of it would just be him trying to figure out what the hell he's doing.
It would be this the whole
What's
time.
The other half? Is it where the computer is?
That's where the XPS designer, product designer.
If you're listening to this podcast, you are missing out on the
yes.
Video
go to Louis' YouTube and let George carry you. Louis.
Okay, it sounds like the three of us are pretty excited about the amount of printers. I don't hear a lot of worry in any of our voices about. Quality
it'll just be behaving like a TCG that's the bottom
line. But because the quality is already so bad in Monarch, it's like it can't necessarily get that much worse.
Hold on, let me be very clear here. It's not just that it's bad in Monarch, and I say this is somebody who loves my Welcome to Wraith boxes and collection.
Oh,
those the corners on Flesh and Blood are worse than any printing that I've
ever seen.
Pokemon.
Yeah,
and it's not remarkably close.
I've also had numerous packs of this latest end set of shipment where I open a pack and it's two groupings of cards that have been glued together.
Yeah, I mean
multiple packs that are this way, and the foil is completely glued. You peel it. I mean, it's two sections of cards glued together completely, and you have to peel them apart one by one and demolish them. And I'm terrified one day there'll be a card of value in one of those packs.
Here is what I have tried very hard to do the last month. When I've criticized LSS, I've tried very hard not to put them in a no-win situation, right? Where if I tell them if I say this is a problem and they solve that problem, I don't think it's then fair to say oh my God, look what they've done. This is terrible. Right. I know that gets Louis all the views. I get it. But I don't really care about Louis' views.
That is not that has not been my attitude toward the LSS
algorithm. So I think my critique has been the print quality for Monarch is terrible. They're okay, George, here's some new printers. Now people go, oh, it's an American printer. Screw you. Yeah. This is insane. They're trying to solve the problem that we've highlighted to them. Say thank you. Thank you.
In that conversation, that was part of it, though, right? You have money, quality, and time.
Yep.
Right. And so what they're doing is actually throwing, in my opinion, more money. They're throwing more money at the problem. So now the quality should go up, and they're trying to do it within a reasonable amount of time.
Yep.
So I think that this should at least get us closer to within a range of acceptance, right? Not every card has to be a 10, but finding a 9/5 quad should not be like a treasure hunt.
Right.
And right now it's kind of a fun treasure hunt, but the first thing somebody does with the Flesh and Blood card when you open a cold foil is you look at the back of the card.
Yep. Because
it is historically known that the corners are just beat to whatever. I don't know why. I don't know in what process they're throwing them into I've always imagined it's this rail that they throw them into.
I'm assuming that they cut them with the safety scissors. Like that's always been my hunch that they use the safety scissors,
which is why they were so off center. That makes sense. They missed the line. Right. Go ahead.
So that's our opinions on the.
Sorry. Printing. Yes. Let's get to Tails.
All right. Let's talk about Tails. We're just talking about
the first thing I thought of. I'm not going to lie to you. That is literally the first thing I thought of when I saw the title.
That must be a generational gap between me and you two.
Wow. Do you not get that, Louis? There are only 4 years between you and I, and you don't know what DuckTales are? Jeez.
You're in your 30s.
Where's my cane?
I'm in my 20s.
Don't give me a look of disgust. You are 2 years. You're a year away from being 30.
I'm in my 20s.
Oh my God, I'm almost 40. God, where's my gravesite?
You are almost 40. Get his hearts ready. All right. We got to get hearts, attach them to a necklace, and put them all around his dead body before he dies.
Okay, so
Shane would be so happy with that.
George, do you have a specific conversation?
I own like a seventh of the world. Like I own 8 hearts. What percentage is that?
Just flexing on us right now.
1%.
Oh my God. So yeah, that'd make everybody who owns a heart very happy.
I think there's like what 4 to 500 of them.
Yeah.
So it's more than 1%. Go ahead though.
Okay, moving on to Tails, everyone.
I'm gonna be collecting out next week.
You guys are tough
That's
today.
Number one too.
You guys are tough.
We've been working today, Louis. It's different.
I have a 2-year-old in my room right now, so
that is work, man. I'm not going to dunk on that. That is work.
George, do you have a specific question that we are going with Tails, or we're just talking generally our thoughts on Tails?
Like I think it caught everybody off guard that like it's not called Kingdoms, and like it seemed to have been
plural kingdoms. Okay, and then they just released one kingdom.
I still have a theory that I haven't shared on my channel.
All right, let's do it.
This is my theory, and it's wrong.
It's not a PvE set.
I want it to be so right. I want it to be right, but it's wrong. My theory was that the article, the text in the article wasn't all like copy edited, and that the whole booster pack thing was like just like a placeholder because they assumed that it was going to be. But that Tales of Aria is the PvE set, and
you have announced this.
Did I? Anyway,
you did this on the channel. You did.
That's still I don't remember.
It's not a PvE set. You did say this on the. You said that exact same thing on the channel.
Oh, never mind. Dang it! I thought this was exclusive content for MetaZoo be with you.
This is one of my content. Failed. This is my YouTube's gonna go through the roof. This is my competition.
I bet you. Yeah. Anyway, continue. I guess I was the only one talking. You guys don't want to talk about.
It's like continue.
I mean, you've already said everything you've had to say about Tails. I think the thing. It's exciting. I mean, I love like there's a new set. We can talk about. I mean, all the things, but I'm actually most interested in the market. And George, you and I had this conversation. Was it over the weekend?
Yeah.
So this is very much a collectible market, a TCG, trading card game. But it's following kind of like this weird LCG thing where they're just expanding the card pool and all these talents and these subsets where they very much feel standalone sets. Like if they keep going this trajectory with talents, you have all these new talents that are introduced. I mean, you remember playing Louis with MetaZoo, right? There were like 8 different auras and, like all these different things that contribute to it. I mean, if they can continue to expand the talent pool, like if you want to play this thing, you got to go over here and buy this set. If you want to play that thing, go get this. If you need your core stuff, go to WTR and ARC. Like, are we just going to start creating this almost this LCG TCG hybrid? And George White.
I have faith that James White will not do me dirty, and this will not become a living card game.
Well, it's not a living card game because it's collectible, but go ahead. This is not Netrunner, where you can just buy a box and you get every single card.
Sure. I don't think it's the definition of LCG, but that's okay.
That is an LCG. There's expandable.
That's correct.
You buy one thing, get everything.
It doesn't matter. So, like, I think that what's going to happen.
I feel like it might matter.
Does it?
It does matter.
I feel like that might be.
There's no collectible component of an LCG.
That might be.
I don't think that's true.
Yes. Netrunner never had collectability. You buy a box.
Google this. You guys will make fun of my fingers if I do it.
No. I played Netrunner for years.
I've also played Netrunner for years. That doesn't prove anything.
No, did you play the Netrunner collectible though, or the Netrunner LCG?
No, the Asmodee one, the Final Fantasy one.
Yeah, you buy a box. There were core sets, and then you were in.
It's not that Netrunner wasn't an LCG. My argument is that there's a broader definition of LCG.
Okay,
it's a game that grows over time.
LCG.
Well, that's every game. What kind of nonsense is
that? Okay. Every game does grow. All right, LCG. A living card game is a term coined by Fantasy Flight. Okay, so they get
not good for George.
To describe several games in their expanding library. Operates as normal trading card games, but they differ in the way of expansions, packs, and new releases are distributed.
So nothing.
Yeah, it's not a collectible card game; it's a trading card game.
Nothing.
Unlike here we go. Unlike TCG, new releases for LCGs are sold in a set predefined packs with no difference between packs of the same release.
That's right.
Without discrepancies between packs of the same.
I will walk my LCG statement back as much as right now. Now I'm sadder than I was before, even. So I have faith that James White.
I think you gotta cancel your.
That's why I call it a hybrid, though. Yeah, you do need to cancel your channel now. Sorry.
It was a great YouTube channel while it lasted, and I'll miss all my wonderful viewers. Thank you to all my wonderful viewers and supporters, and be kind out there. So I think that I
hope our laughing makes you feel better, George.
It does. It brings some.
Somebody's laughing at your jokes.
There's some coldness in there today. Like my legs are like I went to sleep last night. And my legs were like I could barely walk. I
need to send George some mail here soon.
Yeah. So I have faith that James White is going to make it so that the sets interact with each other more than Monarch does with the first two.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I have faith that he will do that. I do think if he doesn't do that, this is not going to be a successful game, frankly. But I also will say this. This is something that's like kind of like frosted my Cheerios the last week. People are all like, oh, see, this just proves that this is going to, this set is going to stink because there's new talents and new heroes. What are you all seeing that I'm not seeing? There's been no card spoiled yet. All we have is a surprise name and pack art. And they're like, see, this proves this set's going to suck. It's like, what proves that?
Even if there's new talents, it doesn't mean the set's going to suck. But
yeah, I mean, like everybody gets like, you guys like, I got into it with somebody this weekend about this. It's like, if you really think James White is going to design such a terrible game for the long haul, sell your cards now and get the hell out.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that James White's going to design a great card game. And so like, we'll keep buying it. If not, stop carrying it.
I think one of the main kind of arguments to what you're saying, George, is the footsteps. It's an illusionist,
right?
Legendary. It's not a light. It doesn't say light illusionist legs. It's just an illusionist. So, like, I do think that there could be something in Kingdoms, and now, in Tales. If it's not in Tales, it could still be in the next set. So, like,
I think Shaibe will be the Dark Illusionist.
So, that would be super cool. You said that about Monarch though, and then it was wrong. So you're just gonna keep saying that until
I will say in every set. Eventually, I will be right. They have a plan for Shaibe.
I don't. So I guess we can get in a little speculation. I do think that we get 4 new talents, or 3 new talents, or 2 new talents. I actually think I think it'd be cool to see like elemental stuff. I talked about that a little bit in my video, but I think that if this set doesn't tie into Monarch, the next set will. So like somebody made a point on my comment section that was saying, what if this next set is base set 2 or whatever,
right?
And then there's another Crucible type set that ties everything together. And I think that could be really, really cool. And like that could really excite the market in terms of like if it, like, let's say we're next year, now we know that that's the rhythm, right? You have 2 sets that are standalones and then a third set that ties them both together or ties them back to the previous sets. I think that can be a really cool thing that excites even for the first set to say, oh, what could be in the next 2 sets that makes this card blow up or makes this card be really good. Or like, I think there's a lot of cool design elements there. And honestly, like that's kind of the roadmap that if you look back on appears to be evident.
If it's an ever expanding card pool with no rotation, I've said this before, but I think talents is a great way to solve for that. Right. Yeah. If you're adding in new talents, adding in classes that fall into these different subsets of talents, it continues to grow the card pool, but keeps it, it keeps it expandable without getting unyieldy, right? Like we don't have to worry about Bravo having access to all this Guardian equipment because Guardian, because this is a Guardian Light equipment and it only belongs to this thing, or Guardian X equipment, right? So only the X character can play this. Or in the future, they release a new character that falls into that subset. But I think it allows it to be ever expanding. What it does, though, is dramatically change the format of the game, right? So we have WTR and ARC, which are the most, you could say, available cards to most decks, right? They're the most generic, even, from a class standpoint. So you can say those are the base sets. And then we're going to, there is a theory that I have where each set will be a small expansion into that card pool that still takes advantage of those core sets. And then you do have those supplementary sets that kind of pull things together or add value to those individual classes or to those subset classes or talents.
Yeah.
So I do see it like it helps solve for the expanding card pool as they introduce new sets. Talents and classes solve for that really well when you combine them. But what it does, though, is create chase sets. So if there is a heavy let's say that chain in a year from now is just demolishing everybody. Monarch will be absolute fire because everybody's like, I got to get chain. I got to get that. Or the singles will be, so everybody will be buying boxes to open them and to sell the singles out of it. So, but we're still waiting on the market to mature to do that. But we could go that direction, right? But what that means, though, you could run into a dead set. Remember ARC? Nobody wanted to play Ranger or Mechanologist and so is that kind of a dud set if only half of the classes are really getting any traction?
Well, this model allows you to revitalize those classes.
Yep.
That's true.
You could play the game. Let's say
and those sets.
Let's say Illusionist sucked and nobody played it and they made a mistake. I'm not saying they did, but I'm saying in a year we feel like they made a mistake with Illusionist. It was underpowered. Well, then they can make a set that utilizes Illusionist and fills in some gaps to make the cards better, to make the game more dynamic and that's beautiful. You can't do that in Magic. You can't just add a complete, they've been trying to fix the color white for 20 years in Magic. And they can't, right? There's no good cards. In Commander, you can't play anything, right? It's just they try to add things and it just doesn't work. But so this allows you to do that.
It does create a different market, though. Go ahead, though, George. Sorry.
Something I want everybody to keep in mind, and I think Louis talked about this in his simping video a couple weeks ago now, was what is fair to hold LSS accountable for. Simping. So I think
for the record,
just got
George. No, Louis has been doing that all week to you and I both. So let's just throw that in there.
Truth. So I think it is completely unfair and unreasonable to think that LSS is going to have enough time to look at the Louis bidding again.
I was drawing with a pen.
To look at the data from Monarch and take the feedback from Monarch and put it into Tails.
Yeah.
There is no way they can look at what went right and wrong from Monarch and incorporate that into Tails. I hate I'm calling it Kingdom. Screw you guys. So
can you call it Aria or Area
I'm calling it Kingdoms until James White tells me not to.
Can we call it 2A?
James White's gonna personally email.
I'm gonna calling it Toa to 1K. Doesn't have the same rhyme as as Mon to 1K.
I totally agree with you, but
yeah, Toa to 1K. That's King to 1K. Ooh, that's pretty
Toa
good.
Is that where we're going?
Toa.
That's what I'm doing.
It's a lot easier to say than Aria.
What we started was they need a good generic card in this in every set.
Yes.
If there's
generic
not
equipment and generic card that everybody needs.
Right. If there's not one in this set, I'm not going to be upset because it's not fair to hold them accountable for that feedback that they got from Monarch in the next set. And here's what I would say to all the players. You should desperately not want James White and team to incorporate the information from the previous set into the next set. There's not enough time to design a new card and play test it effectively. Correct. So if you're oh my God, he didn't put this thing that we were complaining about in the next set, you guys, if he had done that and he had messed up, it could have completely wrecked the game. Completely wrecked the game.
Yep.
I would much rather him take his time and design the game at a responsible pace than just throw whatever the internet horde throws at him like spaghetti on the wall. We're not better than James White at designing games, even me.
That's true. Unless it's PvE, in which case they should just throw the spaghetti on the wall and we should just play it and be there.
You should just not wait for them and you should release it, baby.
I'm not capable of that.
You should make your own market in it. Whoa.
I know my talents.
Full circle.
And, we will organize the community. I'm good at organizing communities, so we will organize the community to do that. But I cannot design it myself.
One thing that we have not discussed, this will be the first set that has been released and has been in development since the creation of Flesh and Blood, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is not one that they had in their pipeline?
All right.
Correct. Well, they might have had it in the pipeline, but they didn't start developing cards for it, I think, until after they started. So this will be like the first full release, is my understanding, where they started it from scratch since the game's been out.
So how do you guys think that changes the way that they design the game?
Well, they would have designed it with Monarch in mind, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They probably would have started R&D and develop.
Wait, hold on. That's not fair. James White said he designed Monarch first and then designed Welcome to Wraith and Arcane.
And was Crew like an afterthought? Like
no,
that was just
he designed Crew. He designed Crew as well, is my understanding.
Okay. So when do you think they started development for this set? Yeah. When do y'all think they started development for this set, though?
I don't know.
I'm guessing like the day after Welcome to Wraith went into printing.
You think it was that soon?
Oh yeah.
I think probably 2-3 years.
So they've still. How many sets do you think there are ahead of us?
Oh,
he said
this is to me where Flesh and Blood is a lot more complex than other CCGs. If
you think they're a year in advance?
Oh, I think at least. I think if it is very easy, in my opinion, for a Flesh and Blood card to be imbalanced because of the system.
Yeah.
And it's a lot harder to ban a card in Flesh and Blood because of their rarity symbol.
Right.
You're going to get 85, mythics in a collector booster box of Magic the Gathering. You're going to get one legendary on average per case. You really can't mess up a legendary and not have a bunch of really feel bad moments for players.
Right.
So I think James White recognizes that and respects the players and stores enough to really dedicate his time to this. And I'm sure he's well in advance of us numbskulls.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I also think that they could utilize some of the way that players have played in WTR and Arcane seasons to like make things different. Like I do think like you can do a lot in play testing. And I don't think that James White would say that they can accomplish everything in play testing.
That never happens
with a team of people who know the game and whoever.
Drone, right? They had to be in drone.
Right. So like I think you can accomplish and see a lot. And that's what has me really excited for this set. Because like they can see the way that like, even if you look at like the New Zealand meta and then take it and see the US meta, it's like completely different. Like we play
it's a completely different game.
Probably worse, but like we play the game completely different. And
we're
like,
super aggro and don't ever defend.
I think it'll be cool to see how they adapt it.
Who would have thought we would be the aggressive America? Geez. Well, I hope that's the front page of the paper tomorrow.
Really? Oh, you're supposed to play Classic Constructed? You're supposed to play Classic Constructed? That takes an hour. Can we just play Blitz over and over and over and over?
So that'll be interesting when we have the first Worlds and there is somebody from the States that go, or a handful of people from the States. It'll be really interesting to see how it works with those different play styles.
Super offensive to them, I bet you. I bet you're gonna be like super like, oh, this is not the way the game is meant to be played.
Yeah,
I
don't know what
purists. Eat New Zealand. What's the New Zealand food? Do they eat kangaroos?
They have really good coffee. Right? They have really good coffee. No, they do not have kiwis. I'm sure they eat kiwis.
Come on, that was funny. No,
I think it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good, Louis. I'll be honest.
Pretty funny.
That was pretty. Okay, I'm more intrigued by how much he loves it.
He's like, I did so good. Oh my god!
All right, if you're from New Zealand and you watch this, tell us in the comment section what you eat. I'm curious. Like, what is like if I were to go to New Zealand, say, give me your best meal. Give me Give
I
me
almost lived in New Zealand.
Meal. What would I be eating that night?
A hamburger.
No.
Really?
They have really.
They'd be drinking beer with it, which I can respect.
So that is my favorite part about buying anything from anybody from Australia. They are always at the pub. Always. Yeah. I have done so many deals where they are at the pub. Is like staggering.
It's a 13-hour difference, though, George.
No, I'm talking about like when it is 10 a.m. their time. Like, hey, mate, I just got back from the pub. I'm like, bruh, it's like 9 o'clock your time. What are you doing? He's like, oh, he had a great night. I'm like, Jesus. I would die. I would die if I lived in Australia.
Here's the thing. I think that the U.S. crowd has taken this game so seriously in terms of like guys, I'm not joking. I played with a guy last night because I suck at the game and I was like, hey, I need to play. So I reached out to Chad Spencer and I was like, hey man, can you play? Dude, this guy plays. I mean, he plays like every night, every day. It's like what he does. It's like what I used to do with Destiny. Like he plays like for like 6 hours a day, and it's awesome. And like people are really taking it seriously. So I really think that we will.
Well,
I know.
Is he on your team?
He is on the team.
That nobody is sponsoring apparently.
Hey, I apologize. I apologize to that in person in the video, and I sent you a text to apologize.
I know you did. I just had to give you a hard time. I will say that people are starting to take advantage of the sponsorship opportunity that the midterm merchant has to offer. Good. Which is great to see.
Great. I have nothing for sale.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, on my Wall Street play mats.
We have diverged.
Back soon now.
We have diverged. Anything else to say about Tails? Other than singing DuckTales.
It'll be really interesting. Have you thought about Louis participating in a sealed event of that set, and all we will have are spoilers, and no one will ever seen the whole entire card pool? Have you processed that? Well, how challenging is that going to be? You're opening all the cards and be like, you're going to be like, oh, I've never seen this. How do I weight this?
I swear to you, if they don't let me film in there, I'm going to buy one of those Google glasses and wear them so that I can film. Are those still a thing? Like if they don't let us like record the whole process, I'm going to be very upset.
They have to.
Why would they let you record a actual sanctioned LSS event?
They probably
Channel Fireball won't. It's not going to be LSS. It's going to be Channel Fireball.
I didn't even think of that.
You listen to me, Channel Fireball. You will have to search me for a camera.
You might like it.
Sasso, please search him upon entry. Immediately pull the sketchy man aside and search him head to toe. Pull him aside to a separate room.
My first video on my YouTube channel will be the fist fight you get into with Sasso in Las Vegas. My YouTube channel is like.
Can you just live stream it?
Wishing he had my viewers by the end of my first video.
Oh my god.
Rudy's gonna be jealous of your viewers. Did you guys see?
Is Rudy gonna be there?
Huge tangent. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. You're not gonna be there,
guys.
You should.
I feel so. You don't understand how difficult it is. You really don't.
I get it, man.
I got it. Okay. You do get it. Aren't you having like a kid like right before that or right after?
I have a kid in October. I have a kid now, but I have a kid in October too.
That's gonna be insane. Your wife is a saint. Just saying.
Yeah, she is. She's amazing. All right. Are we done with Tails?
Yes.
I mean, we can talk about it forever, but at some point we're just speculating.
Here's what I would say to everybody: like before we start critiquing the set too much, can we wait for the first
announcement?
Card? Like, can we
or just the announcement?
The first thing that's announced before we start saying it's the greatest or worst set. I mean, we already know it's going to be. We already know it's going to go to 1K. That part's easy. Yeah. But can we just chill and let's see.
So we have an announcement coming in 20-ish days, 19 actually to be exact.
I want to ask, what do you guys think happened?
I think it was a slip up. I think there was somebody who leaked it to somebody who leaked it to somebody who made it somehow back to us.
It didn't get to us three though, and I'm a little upset about it. It didn't get to us three.
You have to realize that we're not that big of a deal, Louis.
You two were supposed to be big deals. You guys, that's why
I'm not a big deal. I actually have people all the time contact me. Hi, I was talking to somebody at your store. I think it was Mitch. They act like we're this grand store and there's multiple employees. I'm like, no, we're not big time.
Well, they see your guy that's always in the back of our videos sorting cards, and they just assume that they got him.
That's true.
Yeah,
it could have been him.
Today?
Yeah, where's your guy?
He's only able to come in every so often. he's worked probably 20 hours, maybe 40 hours in the entire month.
Can we get to the MetaZoo minute, please?
Oh my god, am I excited?
I'm sick of talking about Flesh and Blood. Can we talk about MetaZoo?
So is
what? I'm not sick of talking. Guys, I don't talk enough of Flesh and Blood. I lowered my prices on the Flesh and Blood this week. That was kind of the big.
Shop at midtownmerchant.com. Use the code.
Still lowering. By Friday, they should be good to go.
You can go to fleshandblood.com and see my Genesis reveal card and have nothing for sale.
I went to yours.
Are you going to do Genesis?
By the way, Mitch. Thanks for changing that, by the way, Mitch.
Are you doing Genesis?
I went to your. What are you asking? I went to
There's
your
a
site.
New game coming up.
Oh,
go ahead,
George. I went to your site the other day to get your link for your event to send to like 3 people who asked me for it. You're welcome. And I couldn't find it because it just kept telling me where it said Genesis card, and I clicked X and it said sign up for our mailing list. And I clicked X.
Who the heck designed this website?
First off, first thing he said, don't get rid of the sign up modal. I love that thing. Leave the modal. I want that. And I was like, George, that's fine. You can have it. I do need to get rid of your Genesis card. He never tells me to update it. He just says like
fleshandblood.com, baby. All right. MetaZoo minute. What are we doing?
If I was direct and I had more boxes, I could maybe, afford to change the website more often. James White.
Let's not get back into talking about selling boxes online. George, what's the question?
Follow me on Midtown Merchant.
So
George said, don't do that. The content is
my YouTube is going to be so big. Holy smokes. You're so screwed, Louie. This is what you have. You have Mick showing his MetaZoo cards on a podcast.
It was your idea.
It only gets views on YouTube. There's like 5 people who listen to it on Spotify.
I asked you to give us the MetaZoo question, I think 3 times. This would be the 4th time.
And you told me to show them.
I did not. George told you to do
that. No,
that.
that's what I'm saying. George said that. George did this.
George is sabotaging my YouTube channel.
It's true.
Saboteur.
First the store, now the channel. Continue.
Oh my God. All right. So here's the big question for the day, boys.
Bring it on.
We talked last week about what the box topper would be. I think Louis wrong, by the way. I don't
box
think
topper for what?
I couldn't find the post that said that I was right, so I'm probably wrong.
All right. We talked about how Louis thought it'd be foil auras. I do not. Didn't Mike announce that the next set would not be cryptids, or am I making that up?
It's all
what's the Japanese
the next set? Oh, he just announced it on the stream
I missed
tonight.
It.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention.
A minute. This podcast is a disaster today.
Will be Nightfall this fall, Wilderness in 2022, UFO in summer, then Ouija. So this one's Nightfall. So I think it's going to be Halloween themed.
I'm not going to lie. I don't care. All I heard was UFO. I am so hyped for the UFO set.
Did you see my post in the chat?
No, what was it?
I said, I'm out. I'm done with Flesh and Blood when the Nightfall, when the UFO set comes out. I said, I'm quitting the job. I'm only going to be playing MetaZoo.
This is where
obviously a joke. But
Kitchen Table MZ comes out. TCG MZ.
No, not screw MetaZoo. It's just going to be Kitchen Table UFO.
Yes, there you go.
That's the only side that he ever opens. It's just that one.
Right now. Hold on.
I am such a sucker for UFO.
So I'm set up with Golden now, so I can buy comic books because everything else is sold out. But I'm excited to be on the next wave of products.
Do they still have the MetaZoo comic books?
They have pre-orders for the next one coming out.
Really? I didn't get offered that.
You got to go on to Golden to buy it.
What was the question?
So I'm changing the question. You like them apples?
Okay.
What UFO will you be most excited to open? What alien/UFO will you be most excited to open?
Oh, let's actually speculate. What kind of aliens do you think they'll have?
It's going to be pop culture references.
Sure.
I want the alien coming out of the chest in space.
Good one. Good one. I like
so you're just going to go OG? Can you imagine the artwork for that one? How cool it would look, especially like in a full hollow.
Somebody's chest blowing up.
Oh, that'd be spicy in full hollow.
Yeah, gold.
Ooh. Got the glitter going on in the background.
Nobody else can have it.
Gosh, what was the so there's Aliens, and what was the other one that was really big in the like 80s and early 90s?
Predator.
That's it. What's the guy in Predator called? I forgot his name.
Predator.
I hope that Predator's on there.
All right, I'm gonna want to poke both of you as always.
Now this gets fishy though, because can they put things in there that were technically in the movie? Because they can't, right?
If you're allowed to say this is the Charizard of the set, you're allowed to say this is the Predator of the set.
They did the Men in Black. Isn't that a card, Men in Black?
Yeah, in this set. I want like the first season of South Park had an alien episode.
Yeah.
I want that alien. I want the probe up Cartman's Louis camera.
It's just called the probe.
Yeah.
Could it be like the Men in Black, like the flashlight thing?
If they created like a Cartman's derriere card with like the alien probe in it.
Are you a big South Park fan?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I get it.
I didn't know that about you. I
learn
found
something every day
for you. A minuscule amount of respect was just found for you.
Ouch. All that business advice that he just gave you, and you just found respect.
YouTube.com will be my new channel. It'll be great. I'm going to post.
That's not how it works.
4 months.
Once every 4 months.
Lucky.
He has his own
Louis.
YouTube email address.
YouTube wants him so bad they gave him a compete sport at youtube.com.
James White, make me direct at youtube.com. You can reach me there anytime you want.
If you are still watching this or listening to
God,
this,
God bless you.
Why?
God bless you. If you are still watching, the first person that is still watching or listening to this that leaves the comment compete sports at youtube.com will get a free May the Zoo be with you t-shirt. The first comment. The first
comment.
Okay, Google tomorrow at noon. Remind me.
He actually goes to the comment sections for once.
Oh,
Google's too good. Google's too good.
Okay.
So we're gonna come full circle. George always jokes about how he carries the podcast. George this week has been so busy that he did not pre-think as much about the podcast as he typically does, and we saw the outcome of that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The podcast was good. The content
it was a hot mess.
Anything else about MetaZoo? I mean, we got to talk about like the whole stream that was today a little bit.
I don't know. Like,
I mean, they just saw MetaZoo sign Matt for $500.
Did you win anything cool today out of curiosity? Completely unprompted.
Okay, goodbye.
What? You're not gonna talk about your win?
What win? I don't even remember. What
we bid on packs.
Every time
it was going to Aoki's foundation to help with brain.
Super cool.
Like Alzheimer's, dementia, like they're doing research on the brain. Go ahead.
Every time Mitch bid, I bid. I didn't.
Yes, he kept overbidding me. I was like, you son of
and I would leave it. I would let it. I would leave it so he thought he would be winning, and then on the last second, I would outbid him.
And I didn't like want to spend that much money, so I was just like 300 was my limit.
Did you guys both win packs?
We didn't win packs. We paid for packs, but yes.
No, but
we won the auctions. We both won auctions. And then Mike and Aoki both signed our cards.
Yeah. What card did I get, Mitch?
No idea. You got a reverse hollow, and I got no. You actually got the gem, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a full hollow holy gem, I think.
Yeah, hold on. I have that
Chaos
card.
Crystal?
No Chaos Crystal. There was a reverse hollow Chaos Crystal. I also opened up this in a pack, by the way. Sorry. I don't remember. You got a holy gem. Yeah, you got a full holy gem.
I'm calling it. Neither of us know the card we won.
You don't like just doing like off the cuff stuff. This is
not off the cuff stuff. This is a terrible conversation. Our viewers are going to be down next week because of these conversations. We will be better.
This is authentic. This is authentic conversation with Louis and George and Mitch.
I will not be better next time. This is the high water mark, boys and girls.
Yeah, you were great. You were tired though. Anything we got to tell people? We're gonna be. May go ahead. What?
May the zoo be with you.
Oh, but yeah, but we're going to be at MegaCon in about a month. Is that in a month?
Not all of us will be at MegaCon, Louis.
Not Mitch, because Mitch doesn't have fun, apparently. I'm a fun
We're going to have a special episode at MegaCon that's going to be a in-person at MegaCon episode with just George and I.
And I forget, Louis, is there any card game that's going to be at MegaCon, just out of curiosity?
MetaZoo's going to be there.
MetaZoo's going to be there. Is there like a designer who's going to be there?
Mike's going to be there. Maybe Mike could be on the podcast. I'm already doing an interview.
Did Mike agree?
I'm doing an interview with Mike next Sunday without you guys.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We make you a big deal MetaZoo podcast and you take advantage of it?
Okay, I'm gonna hang it up now.
Just milking it, George. We don't get any repercussions off of this. He gets all the viewership.
My back hurts and Louis gets all the benefits.
I will say this. Thank you for cutting the episode for us and trimming it up for us.
All right.
And may the zoo be with you.
And may the zoo be with you. And be kind to the people around you.
Goofed it. And Louis goofed it at the end. You gotta say, and also with you.
And also
I love you guys.